So welcome back to So Rare Wakey Academy, and we're continuing the series today then looking at my SO11 limited under 23 champion Euro side. And we've had two videos so far, one looking at right backs, one looking at left backs then, and it's picking the best player who I think will perform this season then. So someone that's sort of underrated and I think it's really going to blow up this season, or have a really good season at least. And we're picking it from the top 5 leagues then. So we've got France, Italy, Germany, Spain and England. We'll pick one from each of those countries in them top leagues, and they will make that position. Now, when we go to centre-backs, which is our theme today, we will still look at 5 players, and the top 2 will go into some centre-back positions. So far, Italy have dominated, having the left and right back spots, with Parisi on the left, Kalulu on the right. But we'll see how we get on now with the centre-backs. Can I get a clean sweep? Let's wait and see. Here's my first one. So as we've done so far, and we've loaded up So Rare data, as usual. And we've put in defenders with no games, because it might be like they haven't really played yet, which is why they're going to suddenly boom onto the scene. But we'll start with France. We're going to go into Ligue 1. And I'm not too bothered about these values and prices. We've got the under 23s clicked, and we go down and we start having a look at the players. Price really sort of irrelevant, but I might touch on it a little bit. But we'll start with my first player, and here we go. So representing the French league, then we have Anthony Roalt, who plays for Toulouse. Had a really good season last year, sort of broke into it, but I think this year is really going to push for it now. Got a last 5 of 54, 49 for the last 15, and a 51 for his last 40. That's pretty decent for a guy who's only 22 years old. Utility till 2025 for under 23s, and he's only £5.60, and that's his floor price as well. Only 70 quid then. £70 is a rare. Really decent price to get this like that. You see his prices here, and again he's come down. A lot of people dropped off in So Rare recently, but I got one at 30 quid there. I don't even know where I sold him. It was probably traded off somewhere. But however, now to get one at just £5, I've got to go and get one again now. I've got to go back out and buy this bloke, because I think he's going to have a really good season. Let's look at his scores then, overall, and we'll look at his overall scores then since he was on the platform. And you can see here, a couple of times he's been up there in the quite high scores then, even hitting 100 once. Doesn't often get so low here, but I think he's proved himself in this team with Toulouse, and he's definitely a name that I'll look out for straight away when I'm looking down the scores. Now, you see here, he's played at centre-back most of the time, and he normally gets 90 minutes unless he's injured or comes off. Of course, he got a red card even there. But he does get a decent all-round score. You see here, his AA of 30 and 29, 12, 29. I think quite a solid centre-back here. I'm looking down the news then, or Google News. Monaco lined up an approach for him, but that was back in February and nothing's come of it so far. But also we see here, looking down, this is like last year, the next big centre-back to come out of France. So he was being touted last season. I think he looks pretty decent, doesn't he? But no news as a transfer at the moment then. Moving on to his Wikipedia page then, you'll see here that he's a good 6'1", so quite tall then for his age, I guess. Could be quite a dominating centre-back. Started his youth career at Saint-Colombe, Marmande, and then Toulouse. Played for the seconds, and Toulouse seconds, played 17 games, and now he's moved on to the first team, played 42 games. I think, a real prospect for them, and I hope he doesn't get a move just yet, but let's see, he might move to a big club, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. And we come to SofaScore and have a quick look down here then. He is right-footed, and you'll see he plays centre-back right. Very good positioning then as his strengths, but he's got this error proneness and there's a weakness, so now and again makes an error. But looking at the heat map, you can see he doesn't get out to the left at all. Looking at this, it's completely down the right. He's in the box in for the corners and stuff. But he's 37 games played this season. Started 37, 90 minutes each game, so he is rated quite highly in that Toulouse lineup. 3 team of the weeks, 2 goals. Did he get any assists? I doubt he would have done. No assists there. And 8 clean sheets for them. Toulouse weren't a massive side, but they weren't brilliant, but who else figured quite heavily in their games. So this is my French centre-back, and going forward, it's Anthony Roalt of Toulouse. So we move to Italy and Serie A for our next player then, and this one is Per Schurz. Now, he's a Dutch player. I've known about this guy for a long, long time. Really liked him. Hasn't quite kicked on yet, and I was surprised when he moved to Torino in Serie A. I thought it was a bit of a step up for him at that time. He's still only 23 now. He's still got another year left of utility at 23s. He's £11.43, £11.67 for his floor price. And you get him 65. That's really cheap. £65 for his rare. Now you'll see why in a minute then, because his last 5 isn't bad. Last 15 not bad. It's played in most of the games, and you'll see his prices. And I've owned a few of these players, bought and sold at profit, and I must have just traded them off somewhere. Paid quite highly for this guy here when he was there, £87. Look, and we're down to, like I say, £11. Sorry. So it's come down quite a bit then. We'll have a look at his scores and see what he's been like since he came onto the game. Because he's sort of up and down, this lad. You can see here a lot of these oranges and reds then, and a lot of DNPs as well, where he wasn't favoured in them games. Has hit a couple of hundreds then. And I remember watching him in the under-21s a while back. You know, some 4 years ago he was playing under-21s. I think it might be under-19s. I'm not quite sure. But some good scores coming in then at centre-back for him. A couple of mistakes as well, so is he error-prone? There's a few of them coming along there. But generally, decent score. Now let's have a look what he was getting when he was in Holland with Ajax. So we can get these scores here. So yeah, again, he was getting a couple of games where he wasn't really playing that much. But when he did play, that's where he hit them 200s. He was pretty decent then in the Netherlands League, but I think he stepped a bit too early into Serie A and the top 5 leagues. Now, some news that I hadn't seen and hadn't heard of then, this is from the Liverpool Echo 2 weeks ago, about Per Schurz being linked with Liverpool. I don't think they'll go for that, and they've also just looked at Hanko, haven't they, David Hanko. So I can't see them going for Per Schurz, but this one I could sort of see happen. Crystal Palace going for Per Schurz. I think that could happen. West Ham also, this is 4 days ago, West Ham having a look at him. So it could be that he's coming to, in fact, Palace 4 days ago have offered now 21 million. They call him the Mountain because he's quite a tall lad. And always has been, from a young age, he's been quite tall. But quite a lot of transfer news going around Per Schurz. Maybe it's time for him to step up, but I think he's due a good season. And on his Wikipedia page, and we see he's 6'3" already. He's 22, isn't he? Oh, he's 23 in fact. But 6'3", big centre-back then. Started his youth career, Fortuna Sittard and RIA. 41 for Sittard, went to young Ajax, played 31 games, went to Ajax's first team, 62 games there, only 2 goals. Went on loan to Fortuna Sittard, 16 games, only 3 goals. And then on to Torino. So, I mean, Sittard was in between this going to Ajax. So. He's also played 4 caps for under 19s and 16 times for the under 21s. So I'm sure this was a tournament I saw him in when he first caught my eye. And they had Taser playing at right back. He was in here, and we had Botman in there as well. It was a really good side, and it sort of caught my eye doing that. On SofaScore, not loads of information ever comes down here. You never see any massive strengths and weaknesses. And again, it's said no outstanding strengths or weaknesses. Right-footed. Bit different on his map then. His season heat map, you can see here, he sort of played left and right centre-back by the looks of it. And he does push up quite high at the field. Doesn't get in the box as much as I thought he would do for corners and stuff. You know, big tall bloke. Seems to be staying back when it comes to corners, so maybe not a goal for it from him, but definitely good tackling. Now, he played 30 times then for Torino, 28 starts, 78 minutes per game, no goals, as you think. You know, doesn't get forward, so that's probably why. 2 assists, though, which is decent, and only 4 clean sheets. Not a great team, Torino. Didn't do fantastic last season, so that's probably why his stats are not so good in that position. But this is my Italian Serie A player that I'm putting forward then. It's Per Schurz, 23 years old. Due a move then, but also due a really good season. Only £11. And so we move on to England then, come to our Premier League guy that we're putting forward. And it's Sven Botman, the Dutchman who plays at Newcastle United. He's still only 23 for another year, then you get utility for another year. He's only £13. I find this quite incredible then, the floor price of some of these limited cards at the moment. But £13 then. and 142 for his rare. That's a decent price, I think. I think Newcastle are about to have a storming season. The players they're going to be bringing in might take them time to settle, but I think they're going to make the players that they've got now really good. So Sven Botman is one of the players that I picked out. Last 5 of 53, and he's only played like 80% there, so missed a game. It might be because he was picked for Holland in the internationals and hasn't made his debut for them yet. But yeah, decent scores there. He does play centre back, and you'll see on his price chart here. I've had him a couple of times a game. But you've seen his price chart. He was up there at £450 at one time. Obviously, it's all come down because everyone has. But there's little peaks and troughs here and there. £126 recently. It's February, basically. But now down to £13. I think he's going to do really well in the Premier League this year. There's rumours that Newcastle are looking for central defenders, but I don't think it's to replace him. I think it's more to do with the other guy. What's he called? Share, who will move on first. I think Botman will stay there, I think, and become a linchpin in that defence. And looking at his SO5 scores, they're only sort of like average scores here. 50 to 60 is his highest, and 60 to 70 is next. But then 40 is 50, so he's averaging around the 55 to 60 mark, I would say. He's getting better, I think, and a lot of people look at me saying about how good Botman is and don't see it. They say he's not a big high scorer, but I think they've got such a good defence, Newcastle, the record that they've got them on with Pope and Trippier in there as well. And another after a left back, I think Kieran Tierney has been mentioned, but also a centre back as well. They're looking at Mark Gueye from Crystal Palace as well as a possible. But I think they could go a little bit step higher as well than that. And I think this guy will fit in perfectly around that. You can see his scores here. They've done so well, Newcastle United, this season. I didn't expect it with the team that they had out, but I think they're only going to buy better now as they go along. Looking at his scores, though, he's playing 90 minutes centre-back. Well, in the season they've had, he's not been scoring that well. A 4-1 win at Brighton, he only got 35. He's looking at his all-round scores. Not brilliant. He has started to get better. 32 and a 21 there, 26. But, there's also some minuses in here as well, and some really low single-figure scores for his AA. But he's playing every week when he's fit, which is what I think is really good. Still not made that international side, like I say. Hasn't actually got on to make his debut yet. But I think due a really good season with the players that Newcastle are bringing in, especially with Tonali in front of him now, in that sort of defensive role. You can see here, sort of transfer news. It's talking about players that are going to come in instead of him, I think. Or not instead, to go with him then, and join up with him. And other than that, there's no real news about him moving away anywhere, but it's about his debut and that for Holland, not quite making the team just yet. So onto Wikipedia then, and he was born in 2000. You'll see here he's 6'4", quite a size, isn't he? This is what they call him, Mountain. That's his nickname, Mountain. And it's 6'4" at this age. Massive, isn't he? He was born in the Netherlands. Started out playing for Young Ajax, and then he went on loan to Heerenveen. Played 26 times for Heerenveen, 2 goals there, and then moved on to Lille. Now this is where he played really well at Lille. Good centre-back partnership, and I think they won the league, did they? Or I can't remember now if they won the league that season. But 62 times for them, 3 goals, before moving on to Newcastle United, and he's played 36 times. You can see in his international career, and he's played under 15s all the way to 21s, and now he's in the squad for the national side, but not played just yet. Onto his SOFA score then, you see some decent scores here that he's had. Never really massively got a great score and stuff, but he's worth £42 million now. He's a left-footed centre-back, and his strengths are aerial duels, obviously with the height of him. Ground duels as well, though. I was a bit surprised at that. Ground duels are really good, because he's really tall, gangly legs. But 36 games last season in that Newcastle side. 35 starts, 87 minutes per game. No goals though. They haven't been sticking him up for corners by the looks of it. But 11 clean sheets. It's pretty good. Tackles. What's his tackles? 1.1 tackles per game and 3 clearances per game. That's pretty high. And only 2 yellow cards. So no discipline problems, nothing like that. I think he's due a fantastic season. So that's my player being put forward for the Premier League in England. It's Sven Botman. So over to Spain next then, and the choice from Spain is Loic Barde, who is 23 years old, got another year's utility then at the under-23s. He's only £13, just over that for his floor price, and only £81 for his rare. Now, his last 5 done a 44, 52 and 53 for his last 40. Nothing really outstanding then, but he's still a young lad, and I think he's just finding his feet now, and starting to do really well. He's playing in the under-21s at the moment in the tournament, the Euros, and he's doing okay. A couple of mistakes here and there, which is I think what's stopping him from being this brilliant player. But he's sort of got a really good recovery rate, I think. He always seems to make a mistake but then get it back. But looking at his prices, then the most he's been £100-ish, and he's moved his way all the way down, and now currently £13. Like I say, a lot of these players are cheap now because that's just the nature of So Rare at the moment. But let's have a look at his scores then. Now we'll have a look at all of them. He's played for a couple of teams then, or quite a few teams. And you'll see here, he does score quite well. 100 up there recently, 97 and 94. I didn't think he was that good, as in like that high scoring. I thought he was around like the 60s now and again, but 197, 94, 83 even. Looking down here, the under-21 tournament there for France, has missed a game, also got sent off in one of them games as well, after 83 minutes. There's a big 100, look. It was 2, was that clearances off the line? Or last man, I can't remember which that is. But plays at centre-back, does really well. Scored a couple of goals as well, so seems to have a lot of decisives about him. There's a 20.4 for his all-round score, a 15, a 14, a 34 for his all-round. He's alright, isn't he? At this age, I think he'll only get better as well. Now, there's nothing transfer news-wise around Loic Barde. However, all I mentioned is about him being such a flop at Nottingham Forest when he was there. Went for the first 6 months, I think it was, of the season. Didn't get a game, never played, never started, nothing. I don't know why he was so bad and why they didn't play him, but all the news is pointing to him just not enjoying it, and Forest saying he was really poor. But he then went on to, we'll have a look at his Wikipedia and we'll see what happened. And he was born in 2000 then, which is why he gets to play in the under-21s at the moment. He was born in France, in Sevres. I don't know if I said that correctly, but 6'3", big defender. Currently playing with Sevilla. Now his youth career started at Antony Sports, Bologna, Paris FC, and Le Havre. Then Le Havre second, and then made the first team. Went on to play for Lens, and then Rennes, and then went on loan to Forest. As we can see that, no games, no goals, nothing. Then went to Sevilla on loan and played 19 times, had a really good 19 games for Sevilla, and is now signed full-time for them, I believe. He's also got 6 under-21 caps, which may have changed slightly with the under-23 tournament, the under-21 tournament going on at the moment. So he should have a few more added to that. So, dropping on to SofaScore, and how did he do in them 19 games in La Liga? Well, you'll see here his map then, his heat map, out on the right, so it matches up quite well with Botman, who's on the left, him on the right. Played 19 games, started 16, 76 minutes per game, 3 team of the weeks, 1 goal, and this decent stats that we're getting from him here. 55 touches there, and 7 clean sheets as well, so pretty decent. 1.2 interceptions and 1.4 tackles per game. When you see him, he's a bit of a really tall again then. You see he's right-footed then, 11.6 million. Discipline's the weakness because he got that red card recently. But you see him, he looks like a tall man mountain again, but he's quite thin, gangly sort of looking, but gets his legs everywhere. He reminds me a little bit of the Liverpool guy. The way he gangles around, and it doesn't look like a footballer, if that makes sense. So yeah, Joel Matip is the one that he sort of reminds me of. No, he is capable of getting big scores then. But Loic Barde, he looks tiny on there, doesn't he, on that little picture? But Loic Barde is my Spanish guy I'm putting forward then from Sevilla in La Liga. And finally then, the last candidate is the one from the German Bundesliga, and it's the Bayern Munich star Matthias de Ligt. Still only under 23s, until next year. So good utility still. £67 is all he is, and that's his floor price as well. But £495 if you want to get him on your rares. No, and super rares, £4.5 you'd pay out for him now, and the floor price. But his last 5 then, he's played in all of these games. As you can see here, 100% his last 5, 100% last 15, and a score of 60. It's brilliant. And an 80% for his last 40 games then. So consistent, doesn't get injured too much, although, funnily enough, he's out with a little injury now, a little niggle. Means that he missed the Dutch games recently. But he's also a Dutch international. So you'll see his prices in here. I mean, let's go back here. I mean, I paid, at one time, 237 quid for him. He's down now at, what, 67, 70 quid. An amazing amount of drop from him. But not because he's got any worse, just I think because they're so rare and the way it's gone and the amount of cards coming to the market. But, you know, his scores are fantastic. Since he's moved to Bayern, I thought he was this young lad that was coming through and he could have gone anywhere, I think. He went to Bayern, but he's really put his foot down now and established himself here. You can see here, mostly fields of green. There's only a few that are orange and one that's red there and another one. But mostly fantastic scores from him. Now, we'll go down. You can see here's a centre-back, obviously, but mostly green scores. Does quite well with the AA scores, and a 23 there, a 9. Does he drop below that? A 5, a 3 there. But mostly, he's decent, and he's in double figures most of the time. A couple of goals as well, and goal lines clearances and last man tackles. One giving away a penalty there though. But generally good, and for Bayern Munich then, they seem to be getting, they are going to be strengthened again by the looks of it, I think. But really good player. And I think he's due to move on to the next level for this year. Now, there's a lot of crap on here about him being married and modelled or engaged, whatever it might be. But he also won the goal of the season this year for Bayern Munich against Freiburg. There's a little injury one, ruled out of the Netherlands squad there. But so here we go, looking at his Wikipedia page then. So Matthijs de Ligt, born in 1999 in Leerderdorp, Netherlands. He's 6'2", big centre-back for Bayern Munich. Started his youth career at Abcude and Ajax. Played for young Ajax, made a good impression, moved on to the first team, then 77 games to the first team, before moving to Juve, where I don't think he was fantastic at Juve. I thought he'd been a lot better, as he was like this wonder kid coming out. But 87 games, 8 goals, before moving to Bayern Munich on 31 games and 3 goals. Played for the Netherlands at the under 15s all the way up to the national side where he is now. He's played 41 times with 2 goals for the national side. Fantastic. What a player. And we move back onto SofaScore, where I may have to change this, because there's not enough information coming out on SofaScore. He's right-footed defender, 188 centimetres tall. But, again, no strengths, no weaknesses. Mad. There's nothing on here, so we need to get a bit more detail, I think, from this. But 79 million is now rated at. And you can see on here, he is up and down the left and the centre. Doesn't go onto the right that much. Has been in the box for the headers on corners and things. But again, not a massive goal threat, but more of a guy that stops the goals. So here we go then for 31 games played this season, 27 starts, 78 minutes per game, 4 team of the weeks. It's pretty decent. 3 goals. And if we go down here, assists, there's 1 assist as well there. And 7 clean sheets also. I think he's now really starting to turn it on and become like, a world-class player, Matthijs de Ligt. And here's my choice then. As you can see when it eventually loads up then. But here's my choice for the Bundesliga in Germany. Matthijs de Ligt, Bayern Munich. Good luck. I think he's probably the best one there. And so in front of us here then you can see that we've got the 5 centre-backs that I've chosen from each country or each league if you like. It doesn't matter if they're about to move or not. They're playing there at the moment, so that's why they've been picked in these teams. And I've put them into an order which I think, the best one that will have the best season all the way down. So from 5 being the worst one, all the way to number 1 being the best one, the best season, I think. And you'll see here, Loic Bardet, he's down as 5th position. And we've got Per Schurz, who's due to move. Like I say, he's been looked at by a lot of Premier League sides. So at the moment he's down in 4. Anthony Rowalt, a player that a lot of you probably don't know that well, not as much as the others, but really good player for Toulouse, might be on the move as well, possibly to Monaco. Then we've got Sven Botman, who's at Newcastle. They've had a great season in Newcastle, haven't they? And I think with the team being built around, a core of players, they're only going to get better, and I think he might get a few more clean sheets than he's had this time round. And then we've got, of course, Matthijs de Ligt. I've rated him number 1. He's probably the biggest player out of all of these here anyway, and a Dutch national player, really playing well at the moment for Bayern as well. And I think he's going to have a wonderful season coming up. So that's my 1 to 5 for my central defenders and for his Champions Europe side. And that's the defence complete then. So we look at the team so far that we've got them. The under-23 side for next season, who I think players are going to play really well, have good seasons then. This is the team we've got so far. Leicester goalkeeper, of course, there. But we've got the defence sorted out then. We've got Kalulu playing at right back, former Lan. We've got Fabio Parisi playing at left back, currently with Empoli, but could be moving after such a good tournament with the under-21s, even though they went out. But then we've got de Ligt and Botman. Botman playing on the left of centre, de Ligt on the right centre. I think, quite a tall team as well, this. And could be full of goals as well, and a lot of assists. Parisi gets forward a hell of a lot, right battler. Kalulu also up and down that wing. Can play at centre-back sometimes then, if it became a 3 at any time. Parisi plays a wing-back with somebody else coming in. But I think de Ligt and Botman, you're not going to concede many goals with that. And we move on to our midfielders next, and our forwards, and then our goalkeeper also. So that's our team. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, hit that like button. Remember to subscribe so you see the rest of the team. You can't miss out on the rest of the team, can we? Hit the alerts as well so you keep getting the alerts as it comes forward. And I'm about to go into the next video, so it should be out pretty soon. So thank you for watching this one. Thank you for all that have subscribed, and we will see you on that next video.